you're losing. But so then in between these 2 points right here, right, I'm still, because we said above here I'm making a profit, and so I'm actually making a loss anywhere down here, right? So I'm either making a profit or a loss, and then here it's like 0. So what happens in this region right here is that I'm making a loss, but I'm at least covering my variable costs. So each time I make a unit, I'm making a little bit of profit on that unit, but in the overall I'm still losing. And what that means is that the fixed costs, remember? So there's some fixed costs, and what it means is that every time I produce some units, I'm eating into those fixed costs, but I'm not quite covering them all.
Okay.
You know, so it's like if the fixed costs were like, in this example, were like $60, maybe some point in here would give me a profit of like, I would be losing $30 instead of 60, right? So I'm losing, because your fixed costs, if you shut down, then your loss is going to be equal to your fixed costs, because you've already paid those. Does that make sense why? Kind of ask questions if I'm saying something that doesn't quite make sense. Right, so in this area, actually it ends up being like your profit, or they say loss minimizing.
So what's the difference between loss minimizing and profit maximizing?
So loss minimizing is like in this area, I'm still making a loss, but I'm the higher the price here, the less loss I'm making.
Okay.
Right, and the closer I'm getting to 0, right? And then let's do a problem maybe, and everything here will kind of make sense as we do this problem. There's a homework. Well, have you done your homework already for this? Or is that where you got up here? Yeah, so let's see if actually.
I don't know if this is the same thing. But
Yeah, try question 4 and see what question 4 looks like. Have you done it already, the whole thing, or no? Just
yeah.
Oh, yeah?
This one? Maybe this
Yeah, so this is an exact example of this here.
Okay, yeah, I had no idea how to do this. I just
Yeah.
did it with the groups.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so let's go over this, because I think this will explain pretty much everything you need to know.
Okay.
Right, so in this example here, it's giving you a table instead of this graph. So, actually I probably should have left that up, but we'll just write it back. So I'm going to erase all these lines here, and we're going to use this. I'll just start over. Right, so, we had something like this and something like this. So this is your average total cost, average variable cost, and marginal cost curves. So think about this as like that table is basically just like graphing these points, these lines up for you, kind of. Do you know how to go from a table to a graph, or is it better that we maybe look at the graph, or I mean the table?
Yeah, I don't know how to put it on the graph.
Yeah, so
You just like
so here they have
these points and these points.
Yeah, so all the prices here, right? There's quantity right here, and then these are all prices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on this graph right here, we have a quantity down here, and we have prices right here, right? So if you were to say like, okay, at quantity of 1, right? Quantity of 1 right here, my up there we only have these 3 curves graphed. We don't have that one graphed. So if you were to look at, right, your average variable cost is $45, right? So at 1 right here, my average variable cost is at $45. So that would be like $45,
Okay.
right? And then it looks like my marginal cost is the same. So let's look right there. Marginal cost is $45 as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my average total cost is $105, which is kind of what we have here, right? So imagine that this would be like $105, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of that, but we'll talk more about the table then here. So, or if we want, here, actually maybe this will help too. So let's look at these 3 prices and kind of determine where they are on this graph. So at $56, before we do that, we're going to go, let's find these points. Maybe these points, I think, remember this point and this point are the ones that we care about, right? And what did we say this one was? Do you remember?
That's when
So below that,
you're like losing.
we're gonna
shut down.
Yeah, we're gonna shut down, right? So that's the shutdown. This is the shutdown price right here. Shutdown, and we want to know how to find that, and you could do that by looking at a couple things, right? So what we see here that your average variable cost is going to intersect your marginal costs, and whenever we have these two lines intersecting, what that's saying is on the table, we're looking at where they're equal, where those two are equal.
Okay.
So let's look at marginal cost and compare it to average variable cost and see where are they equal. So you have so here's your marginal cost and then your average variable cost. So they start out being equal, but then after that, let's see where, or how would you do that, do you think? Maybe it's not that apparent, but.
Just the ones closest together.
Yeah.
So would it be like 45 and 47, this one?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's for average total cost, right?
Oh, we're on this one. Oh,
But I mean, that's good. So that was like 47, right? That's around 45, 47. That's for this, that's this point right here, right?
Okay.
Where marginal cost is, so we know that's like, this one is $47 here, or 45. Maybe we'll just say 46. Then what is it for average variable cost? So
Is it 40 and 37 or 35?
Yeah, so 35, 37, 36. We'll say 36. So that's this point right here, right? So we've just identified these things right here, right? So we're saying for this company, at anything below $36, they would shut down if the price was 36. In between 36 and 46, they're minimizing their losses, right? And then anything over $46, they'd be making a profit, right? So that's how we've kind of turned that table into some points here on the graph, right? It's kind of helped us understand this point, this line, and that line, right? So now when that question asks us about these other points, right? So then we have 32, 41, and 56. We can already put that up on our graph, right? So the first one was 32, is that right?
Yeah.
Right, so you know that's below 36. So we're going to shut down at 32, right? So shut down. The other one was 41, which falls in between that range. So at 41, we're going to minimize our losses. And then the other one was 56, and we know we're going to make a profit up there at 56.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so I guess because I want maybe to help you like be prepared for the test, right? So if you see a question like this, the first thing that maybe you want to do is find out those 2 points, right? So you don't necessarily have to draw the graph. Sometimes it might help you to draw the graph, to visualize kind of what's going on. Would it help you to draw the graph? Or yeah. So then I would study kind of drawing up that graph, because some characteristics that you're always going to notice about this graph is that the marginal cost is always going to be like this Nike check kind of a thing, where it like dips down and then goes all the way up. And then your average variable cost is going to start at the same point, and it's going to get to its lowest point when you intersect right here, and then it's going to go back up. And then your average total cost is just going to be like up here, and it's just going to go down. Kind of what happens is this gap gets closer and closer as it goes out like this, basically. So